I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network, and this is a breaking news alert. Nancy Pelosi went on the morning shows this weekend, and during the shows, she was asked a question by one of the reporters about whether she thought that Donald Trump was going to show up in response to the January 6th committee's subpoena for his deposition, which is scheduled for November 14th. On Capitol Hill, and Nancy Pelosi said she doesn't think that Donald Trump is man enough. Let's play the clip, and then let's discuss it after the clip. Play the clip.
Well, speaking of democracy on the ballot. All right, take it to the bank. I have to ask you about the January 6th committee. On Friday, they officially subpoenaed Donald Trump. Do you think he'll actually appear for the deposition? And what does it say to the American people if he doesn't?
I don't think he's man enough to show up.
I'm sorry, Madam Speaker. I literally could not hear what you said.
I said, you asked me if I thought he was going to show up, and I said, I don't think he's man enough to show up. I don't think his lawyers will want him to show up because he has to testify under oath. But I don't think he'll show up. I don't think he's man enough. We'll see. Let's see if he's man enough to show up. And the public should make a judgment. No one is above the law. If we believe that, then they should make a judgment about how he responds to that request.
No, I couldn't agree more with Nancy Pelosi there. And I've said that before on these other MeidasTouch Network videos that we've done and that we've shared this time together, that Donald Trump, in addition to being a traitor, in addition to being a criminal, in addition to being a wannabe fascist, he is a coward. He's always been a coward. He always will be a coward. He does everything possible to avoid appearing at depositions until he's finally ordered to show up at depositions and to appear places. You know, there's a reason why he hides in the bunkers and why he engages in all of this performative BS, because he is a scared little baby. No offenses to babies. You know, as I watch that video of Nancy Pelosi, one of the things I also reflect upon, well, it's two things. First, Donald Trump loves to talk about and Hillary Clinton and lock her up this and lock her up that at the rally. That's because Trump is projecting, but it's because Trump is scared. Trump knows he can never be as courageous as Hillary Clinton. Now, you may disagree with Hillary Clinton's policies. We have a big audience here at the MeidasTouch Network. I don't disagree with Hillary Clinton's policies. I think Hillary Clinton would have made an incredible president. I think she was the most prepared, most experienced person who could have ever stepped into that role. And frankly, I think the crises that we faced under Trump, which he failed each and every test, including COVID, would have been entirely different had we had someone with the competency, the experience as Hillary Clinton. But let's just assume you disagree with Hillary Clinton's policies. When congressional Republicans held those Benghazi hearings where they wanted to try to embarrass and humiliate Hillary Clinton, what did she do? Did she run away from it? Did she plead the fifth 400 times like Donald Trump did in the Letitia James investigation? Did she try to hide in a resort in Mar-a-Lago to avoid deposition? Did she try to avoid it? No. She humiliated and embarrassed those Republicans who tried to hold that hearing. She went, showed up. She sat there for about 12 hours, essentially no breaks, 12 hours straight, answered every single question that they asked. Did not invoke the fifth, did not say, oh, I don't want to answer that question, answered every single question that they asked. So much so that Trey Gowdy guy, or whatever the hell that guy's name is, he was so humiliated after that hearing, he had to quit. But say what you want about Hillary Clinton's politics, and I don't know where you stand, but I know that our audience is a big audience with lots of political views. She sat there. She answered every question. Do you think Donald Trump is going to do the same? Do you think, when questioned about what took place on January 6th and leading up to it, that he is going to answer those questions? A date that will live in infamy in our country, where our peaceful transition of power for the first time tried to be blocked by insurrectionists who tried to kill police officers and kill the vice president and kill political leaders like Nancy Pelosi and others, who defecated on their hands, these insurrectionists, while they were called for by Trump, and smeared their feces on wearing Trump shirts. They literally smeared their feces on the walls and peed on the ground. I mean, who are these people? What the hell are these people doing stuff like that? The most disgusting, strange sickos. You think Donald Trump's going to go in there and condemn it and testify, talk about it? Absolutely not. One of the things that I found very interesting in the January 6th committee's letter to Donald Trump attached to the subpoena, though, it's a little bit of history that I didn't know. I don't know if you knew it, but that there were a number of former presidents who testified before Congress. I didn't know that. And in fact, there were a number of presidents who, while they were presidents, testified. So anybody who's telling you this is so unprecedented to ask a former president, or even if it was a sitting president, to speak before Congress on issues, anyone who says that's unprecedented doesn't know their history. And you should tell them, here are the facts. Let me read from you what the January 6th committee said. They said, Trump wouldn't be the first former president to testify before Congress or to receive a congressional subpoena. Former presidents John Quincy Adams, John Tyler, Theodore Roosevelt, William Howard Taft, Herbert Hoover, Harry Truman, and General Ford, at least 7 former presidents, each testified before Congress after they left office. President Roosevelt explained during his congressional testimony, quote, an ex-president is merely a citizen of the United States like any other citizen, and it is his plain duty to try to help this committee or respond to its initiative. Wow, let me read that again. From President Roosevelt, he explained regarding his testimony before Congress, quote, an ex-president is merely a citizen of the United States, like any other citizen, and it is his plain duty to try to help this committee or respond to its invitation. The January 6th committee further explains in its letter, even sitting presidents, including Abraham Lincoln and Gerald Ford, also testified before Congress. Further, both former and sitting presidents, including Nixon, Tyler, and Quincy Adams, have provided evidence in response to congressional subpoenas. Those are the facts. So going to what Nancy Pelosi's saying, Trump isn't man enough. His lawyers will probably never allow him to do so because they know that he would further incriminate himself. And should also be noted, it is not unprecedented, though. Look at all the other presidents who gave testimony about various issues. Donald Trump should testify. He wants to. Here's my other thing. We talk about the Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination, invoking your Fifth Amendment rights. Everybody has that right. It's a constitutional right. It's absolutely something that everybody should have. I don't want to belittle it. But when Trump goes around and gives these fascist rallies and his rants on his social media platform and wants to and goes after the federal judge in California or that federal judge here and all these things, buddy, you've got the opportunity. You want to go speak? You're not a coward? You're not a coward? Go and testify before the January 6th committee. Answer the questions. If you're a tough guy, if you think you're so smart, go testify before their staff and show the world, show the country everything that you want to say. Go for it. But we know you never will because, as Nancy Pelosi says, you are a coward. I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Hit the subscribe button. We are on our way to 1 million subscribers. With your support, it's free to subscribe. If you haven't subscribed yet, what in the world are you doing? Make sure you subscribe now to the MeidasTouch Network. In addition, want to help grow our independent media channel, go to patreon.com/MeidasTouch, patreon.com/MeidasTouch. We're not funded by millionaires or billionaires. We're 100% independent. We're fueled by democracy and powered by you. We rely on your support to grow this independent media platform. So if you want to help grow it, which you can do, go to patreon.com/MeidasTouch. There's a number of great exclusive membership packages there, including there's one package where you could become an honorary producer of the MeidasTouch podcast. Then your name will appear at the end of the podcast and get posters and postcards and other behind the scenes footage. It's great. There's great stuff. But most importantly, when you ask, Ben, how can I support? Wherever you are in the world, that's what you can do to support this. Go there right now. Please. It would be very, very, very helpful. Go to patreon.com/MeidasTouch. Until next time, I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network.
This November is Rowvember. MeidasTouch just released its brand new collection of Rowvember t-shirts and pins to let the country know what's at stake this upcoming midterm election. Go to store.MeidasTouch.com to grab yours. That's store.MeidasTouch.com.